And that's Tommy, right? The other guy.
Tommy,
yeah,
Ritesh,
yeah.
Michael.
Got it. Okay. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another edition of the LTU Football Coaches Show podcast. We are coming to you live from Shields Pizza on Telegraph Road in Southfield. I am Lorne Plant-State Champs. This is the head coach, Jeff Duvendeck. This man is not happy, and he has a lot to say about the officials and everything that took place up north. We'll get to that in just a minute. No, I'm just kidding. We're here every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Join us. Shields will take care of you. Great food and drink specials. It's always a great atmosphere. It's packed here on Tuesdays, and it's really a good time. So here's what we got in store for you tonight. We're going to talk about the Northern Michigan game. Don't believe we need to spend a whole lot of time on that, but we're going to announce our LTU Football Players of the Week, of which we have some here, and they will join us. And for the first time for this season, we're going to play a team for the second time. The Dakota's Trinity Bible coming to town this Saturday for a final home tune-up of the season. We'll give you a little preview. All right, so for those of you who have seen the Oscar-nominated documentary, A Mighty Wind, I don't know if you've seen that one. There's a line from that movie where the guy goes, "What happened?" So maybe you can answer what happened this weekend.
We just we let it get away from us early, and we let some things snowball. They came out in a different look offensively than we had seen from them, and it took us a little while to adjust defensively. From an offensive perspective ourselves, made some early mistakes, an early 3-and-out, early interception that led to short fields and put our defense in negative situations. And I think maybe a little bit starstruck. Being in a dome was different. I think our kids were maybe a little bit focused on that.
Any road fatigue at all?
I'm sure there was some of that. We've had some long trips. Yeah, we've had a lot of long trips and, a lot of injuries. So maybe the lack of focus happened to be some road fatigue. Going back and watching it, it definitely wasn't a 65-7 matchup. I felt we matched up quite a bit better than that. We lacked some fundamental play that, we probably got sloppy over the first couple of weeks, and got away with some things that we couldn't get away with against a very well-coached, strong Northern Michigan team.
Well, this is what makes a kind of, if you want to call it a rehearsal season, something that you guys can, play real games, yet learn about who you are. It doesn't really count.
Right.
But everything counts. Obviously, Northern Michigan, an NCAA Division II squad. A little bit of what I would have expected from the season so far. You have some highs, you have some lows.
Yep, exactly.
You've had more highs than lows, but you have lost 2 in a row. Mm-hmm. So how is the team taking that? How are the coaches taking that?
The team has done a phenomenal job of bouncing back. I think we went back and we looked at the Indiana Wesleyan loss, our first loss.
Right.
And we were able to see, okay, we make these corrections. When we get round 2 with them, we got a chance to correct those things, which doesn't happen very often in a football season. That you get a chance to go back against the same team. Northern Michigan, I think, at first glance and first feel for our team and for our coaches, it was like, wow, what happened, right?
Yes.
And then when we went back and watched it, I was like, gosh, just a little bit there, and it's a way different ballgame, and we talked about it, like the look they came out in offensively, we had performed a little bit better against it early and got them out of that and into things that we matched up better against.
Yeah, it snowballs.
Yep, exactly.
From there.
Yep.
Not to use a Northern Michigan reference, because there's a lot of snow up there right now. Forget the score. What were some of the things you liked on Saturday?
I love the way our guys competed. Easily after being down 30-0 in the first quarter, guys could have quit. They could have got frustrated with each other, frustrated with coaches. Coaches could have got frustrated with coaches and players. And, I thought we did a good job of showing our unity, showing that we are a family, showing that we're in this together and we're going to fight together.
Yeah.
There were some good plays. Obviously, the players of the week had some positives that we saw. There was a lot of things that we matched up with very well. I thought we had good speed comparatively. And actually going back and watching, I felt we had good strength, especially being a freshman team versus a junior-senior dominated team.
Right.
That was truly the first team that we saw all year that had guys that have been in the program for that length of time and have been able to develop. Coach Nystrom does a great job with that program. They're very well coached.
They play a tough schedule.
They're very tough. Yeah, very tough schedule. They're very tough.
Yeah.
He's instilled that toughness back in Northern Michigan. It kind of took a lapse, not to pat myself on the back, but after I left, and then it took a lapse for about 10 years, and then or 7 years, and he brought it back. And they're a very, very good team. They lost to Davenport by 1 in overtime. Who just lost to Grand Valley, who's the #1 team in the country, by 5 this past weekend. So, their record doesn't show it, but they're a very good team.
I mean, that whole area, you talk about Ferris State, Northern Michigan, Michigan Tech, what they're doing. I mean, football-wise, seems to be really blossoming up in that area.
Right.
So, and again, they're going to beat up on each other.
Exactly.
And then when they get opportunities to play people who they're not familiar with, they get a chance to kind of, bring it all out, and you guys got to take the punch and see what you can do. Well, let's get some thoughts of the Northern Michigan game from a player's perspective. This week's Special Teams and Defensive Player of the Week, Tommy Lappin, is in the house. Let's bring him back on the show. All right, Tommy Lappin. Welcome. Make sure you speak into the mic there, my friend. We don't have the speaker today, so you got to make sure we can hear you. So, all right, so Northern Michigan is a team, a program that's been around forever, literally 100 years or longer. They have guys who've probably been playing college football for going on 5 years in some cases. So what was the biggest challenge that you found in facing that Wildcat team?
Well, like you said, they've been playing football for a little bit longer than us. I think there's definitely a difference in size, speed, and strength, but there's still some things that we could have done better to kind of cut the score down a little bit. We know what we did, and we're going to keep working on it.
Yeah, absolutely. You had double digits in tackles in a game. That's 16, which is a team best. 53 tackles on the season so far, 14.5 for a loss. Talk about your development as a college football player over the first 8 games of your career, and also how the coaching staff is making you better.
Well, yeah, I think I've started to get more comfortable with the position. The coaches have got me a little more used to playing devil. I remember during camp, the first 3 weeks, I was frustrated because my high school ran with 4 linebackers, and it just made the fits and everything a lot different. So I was struggling the first 3 weeks. But up until now, I've progressed, and they've taught me more, and we keep working on technique. So
yeah, what are you guys working with him specifically to take him to the next level?
Well, the thing we're focusing with all our team is the fundamentals, and we talked about that post Northern Michigan game. We have to get back to those things. We felt Northern Michigan used their hands on both sides of the ball a lot better than we did. So just getting separation for Tommy, getting separation from those blockers, and then from an offensive perspective of getting hands on the defensive guys and not letting them get separation. So I think they did that a lot better than we did, which, allowed us to stay blocked longer, and their running back's tough. You're going to arm tackle that guy. And, so some things that we got away with against some of the other teams that fundamentally we can't. And so we've just been kind of pounding that with all of our guys.
That's right. You got to wrap up, and there's no doubt about it. No alligator arms against good teams. But I'll tell you this: you're a competitor, right? So even though it's a tough loss, I would say that going up against competition that's good or better than you right now is what it's all about. So talk about what that has been like when you're facing, a team like Northern Michigan, an Indiana Wesleyan team who is, obviously has some roots already in football, as opposed to, some of the other teams that are just club programs.
Well, yeah, I know talking to the other guys in the team, everybody looks forward more so to those games because they know it's going to be a good game. We've had a few games where we've been lucky enough to kind of blow them out, and that's fun, but it's a lot more fun being able to play good teams because you learn more about because you need to use your technique more. Like you were saying, the guys at Northern were a lot bigger than we were, and sometimes when we didn't use our technique, it kind of showed. So
what are you studying right now?
Civil engineering.
Okay, and you're locked into that? You like that?
Yeah.
Have you been able to kind of find the right mix of school and football and all that? Because that's a challenge.
No, I'm still figuring it out, but I think I've got it down for the most part. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Number 29, Tommy Lappin, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being on the show. All right, another bright spot for you this past weekend was your player of the week on offense, Nick Spahn, trailing 30-0 late in the opening frame. Kolka connected with Spahn for 43 yards on a 3rd and 17 inside their own 10-yard line. Just a few plays later, the former roommates hooking up again for 30-plus yards. Spahn had 3 plays for more than 30 yards. He finished the afternoon with 6 catches and 142 yards.
Yeah.
How about his performance?
He did a great job, and I think that's kind of where our speed showed. Because he's not even our fastest receiver. He's probably our 3rd fastest receiver, maybe 4th. But he does a great job. Coach Mason does a great job of teaching him how to create separation with DBs. And, he's really taken to that teaching and used those techniques, performing the fundamentals that we've been preaching to all our players. So to watch him use those fundamentals and be able to excel against a solid football team was energizing to us and kind of showed us that, hey, look, our 4th fastest receiver can create separation. What can 1, 2, and 3 do?
Right, like kind of like a Wes Welker or somebody in an offense, somebody who you can use going over the middle. And obviously, if they're going to be keying on your other big guys, you need that guy to make plays. Nick Spahn did. Every week we celebrate the hard work that the guys put in on the scout team. These are the guys that get the starters ready to compete each week against an opponent. This outstanding scout performers for this week were Michael Crane on special teams, Ryan Crowley on offense, and Hitesh Kumar on defense. 2 of these guys are here with us at Shields tonight. So let's first welcome number 42, Michael Crane, to the show. Come on. You're the next contestants, and the price is right. All right, so you attended Exeter Township High School, right?
Yes, sir.
In Reading, Pennsylvania.
Reading, Pennsylvania, sir.
Reading. I said Reading. Reading. Okay. I like the sir part, though. You can keep doing that. You graduated high school this past spring.
Yes, sir.
Correct? So how'd you end up at Lawrence Tech?
Well, first I was looking all the engineering schools are Division I, and then they reached out to me one day in the summer, and they were like, come up and attend this camp, see what you got. And I was like, okay. And I checked into it, said it was an engineering school, so I was like, I'm going to go there and see what I got.
Right, and this was kind of a 2-for-1 deal because there was another football player in the household.
Yeah, we got his twin brother as well, and so yeah, nice little 2-for-1.
Absolutely. Well, describe this whole experience then for you because it's a little surreal. It's happened so fast. You know, new state, college football schedule, college classes now. What did you expect and what did you not expect?
Actually, I think this was pretty in line with what I expected because I expected since we were a starter program, we'd be practicing a lot because we had to establish all our new things. There weren't going to be there are older guys who do teach us, but there wasn't going to be a 4-year starter who's going to be like, this is what you're doing, this is how you're going to do it.
For 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit different around
And
here.
how about what surprised you a little bit?
What surprised me was I liked the intensity of our practices because I was told by other players on my team who went to college that the intensity wasn't there, but here at Lawrence Tech, we do have good, intense practices.
Nice. Is linebacker what you see him fitting in?
We actually moved him this year.
Okay.
We moved him over to Swoleback. I think he's
Define what swoleback is.
Swoleback is kind of a hybrid position between a tight end and a fullback. You know, I've been places where they call them fatbacks, and I didn't think that was too complimentary to these guys. So actually, we started at Michigan State. Todd Anderson, Nick Benzick, Adam Setterbo played full swoleback for us there, and they created that name, and I've kind of carried it with me since.
Yeah. Had you played offense before in high school?
Yes, sir. I played at center.
Okay, so you were on the line. You weren't actually up there. So, what has that adjustment been like? Do you like it? Because again, it's from what I understand of that position, especially, is you get to initiate contact in a lot of situations, which is what you want to be doing.
The thing was, I actually played at guard my 10th and 11th grade year until they moved me to center. So, I feel like it's just like pooling. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I go downhill and I find first color and I block.
Right on. So mechanical engineering is what you're studying.
Yes, sir.
What would be your dream job when you graduate?
Be a mechanical engineer.
But I mean, is there a particular type of company that would seem like would be something you think you would really be able to be attracted to?
I was looking for more of a company that does more than one specialty because you can design one thing. There's this guy who I used to lift with. He got into the medical field with mechanical engineering, and I thought that was really cool because you design different things for the body.
Right on. All right. Sky's the limit. All right, we'll see what happens. All right, so Michael Crane, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Nice job. All right, the Scout Defensive Player of the Week is number 53, Hitesh Kumar, not to be confused with the blockbuster hit Harold and Kumar. Wouldn't you know it? Hitesh happens to be here tonight. Welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
You're good? Okay. You were one of the local products.
Yeah.
As you played your high school ball at Utica. Let me ask you this. In an area that has some traditionally great programs, Utica Eisenhower, Sterling Heights Stevenson, even Utica Ford some years, and Utica, that whole area, it sounds just like a crazy football area. Describe what that pocket of the world is like.
We definitely got a lot of good players, but I feel like it's been under-recruited lately.
Yeah.
But since Lawrence Tech has started, they've definitely been interested in those players.
So what was the recruiting process for Hitesh?
Well, as he mentioned, we've become interested in that school. I think we took 6 guys out of Utica High.
Right.
Mike Fox is a punter for us, Kayvon Higdon a receiver, Logan Wessel an
And that's
offensive lineman.
unusual. How does that happen?
Each one so it was one of our assistants was recruiting that area, and each time he'd bring me a new guy from that school, I'm like, can we really recruit this many from the same high school? Right? Does this look, I don't want it to look bad on us.
Right.
So I was like, show me some film, and we watched, and Yeah, he can play.
Right.
We got to recruit him.
And you play good competition, so
yeah. So and that's the great thing about being in this area is all the schools play tough competition, and we're able to get over and see them on whenever we need to. So, but yeah, it was awkward recruiting that many from the same high school because we don't want to set a standard that anybody can play at Lawrence Tech because it's obviously scholarship football. But we found 6 good players from Utica High that came and proved us right, that we recruited the right ones.
And I'll tell you what, just by happen chance, of course, having teammates coming together as teammates kind of helps as you're building this family, which is Lawrence Tech football. Tough last couple of weeks. You guys have been on some real kind of ups and downs this season. What do you think the guys learned about themselves the most over the last couple of weeks?
We've learned to push through adversity. We've all stuck together through this, and we're gonna come out winning.
Yeah. What do you love the most about playing college football and playing here at Lawrence Tech?
I love the competitiveness. In high school, sometimes there were players who weren't as committed, but since I've gotten here to Lawrence Tech, every player's committed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I see that on a weekly basis. What are you studying at Lawrence Tech?
I'm pre-med.
Pre-med. All right. How have you been able to balance the school and the football life?
It's been, in the beginning it was difficult, but with time I adjusted, and over time it got better, and we have AAC hours every week, so that definitely helps out.
Yeah. Playing, when your duties are on scout, it's obviously the unglamorized, profession, but you guys have a job to do and a real role to play. How do you guys kind of pick each other up, when you're in that situation? That, hey, we might not be playing, but right now we have a role to play, and we've got to make sure we get our team ready to play.
We just compete every play, every snap. We compete. We got to make the starters prepared for the game on Saturday.
Yeah. And what has been the competition level like at practice?
Competition's been great. Everybody's competing at every level, every position.
Let me ask you this: what would you like to say to kids out there who are considering coming to Lawrence Tech? They've learned now about this football program. We hammer it, on all our shows, State Champs and the LTU Sports Report and all that. We talk about, what's happening here, the movement, the tradition that's building, being a part of something that is historic in a lot of ways. What would you say to kids about the experience going to school here and then playing football here if they're on the fence?
This program it's definitely going to be something great, and we have great academics, and a lot of the players have a chip on their shoulder because a lot of players were under-recruited, but Lawrence Tech found them and those players turned out to be gems.
Right, I get it totally. All right, number 53, Hitesh Kumar. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? There's a place, for so long, and believe me, we saw it for years. We've been doing state champs for 15 years, that, kids just, for whatever reason, if they didn't match certain intangibles, they weren't going to get an opportunity, but they are now.
Exactly.
And I would imagine for you guys, that means you can look into their heart first and see where it's at. And, just talk about how rewarding that is.
Oh, it's awesome, and that's what I love being in this area. Like I referenced earlier, I think there's some great football here, but the benefit over previous schools that I've been at is we're 15 minutes away from them, so we do get to know them on a more personal basis. So you can look at their work ethic, their intentions, what their commitment level is. They talked about, those guys talked about the intensity level, the commitment level. That's what we're trying to build this team with, the guys that are going to work hard for 4 years and sell out to the team, and they don't care if they get the credit or not. And that's how we're going to build success here at Lawrence Tech.
Absolutely. And again, you don't have to sell the school because academically it stands on its own. These kids who are graduating have job offers 6 months before they graduate in their field, making the kind of salary that's commensurate with their degree. In fact, Lawrence Tech has one of the highest return on investment in the entire Midwest, and I would argue probably in much of the country.
Top 5% of the country.
Yeah, and getting a job at a college. And again, you get to come here and be a part of something that is really special. Well, in the first matchup between LTU and Trinity Bible, it was the road-weary Blue Devils that came off a 16-hour trip one way to tame the Lions 68-7. Lawrence Tech ran up a program-high 68 points, 55 in the first half, season-best 555 yards, 387 on the ground. The Blue Devils' weapon of choice, a three-headed monster in the backfield. Tanner Foley, Makai Otero, and Ahmad Sabah. Sabah and Foley led the charge, wheeling off 129 and 95 yards respectively. Sabah became the third Blue Devil running back to rush for 100 or more yards in a game this season. And Foley, Sabah, and Otero all found the end zone twice. It was a really great matchup for you guys to go on the road like that, travel like you did, win like you did. Now it's going to be back in your house. Your thoughts?
We're excited to have them back. I think we went out there. I think, the kids were energized. We had the chance to – Kirk Cousins came to the hotel and spoke to us, and I think that, helped energize them a little bit and refocus them and get them over that 16-hour trip. Excited to have them back out here. I think they're a much better team than what showed in that matchup.
Yeah, they're 4-4 now.
Right, yeah, 4-4 team. They're coming off a 2-game win streak. So we're excited to get that matchup again. And like I mentioned, in the chance that we get the revenge at Indiana Wesleyan, they're looking for that at us.
Yeah, that's right. And you'll get Wesleyan soon enough at their house. Right. That'll be amazing. Do you have a prediction?
I don't make predictions.
I know you don't. I always ask anyway. So, all right, well, thanks again, Coach. Jeff Duvendeck, everybody. All right, well, Saturday's game is going to be streaming live at LTUathletics.com, kickoff at noon. Of course, watch the LTU Sports Report, the NAIA's only Midwest college sports show focusing on a single school. The school is Lawrence Tech. Highlights all sports, not just football. Get insight on players, teams, coaches, you name it. The LTU Sports Report airs every Monday at 4:30 on Fox Sports Detroit, as well as several other times throughout the week. You can also watch the show on Comcast Channel 900 and Fox Sports Atlantic, which is cool. Consume it whenever you want online at LTUathletics.com, as well as Facebook and YouTube. Well, next week is October 30th, a special Halloween edition of the LTU Football Coaches Show. And if they lose to Trinity Bible, I can't begin to tell you how scary that show is going to be. It's going to be pretty horrific. But Coach Duvendeck is going to be in full costume next week.
Okay.
So I want you
to give me the heads up on that.
Giving you the heads up now. I will too.
Okay.
So we invite everybody to come join us. 7 p.m. next Tuesday night, of course. Please come visit Shields Pizza on Telegraph here in Southfield for some great food and a great time. Thanks to our great crew here tonight, John Hevron, and, of course, Kia Tyus over there. As always, go Blue Devils.
Let's